expect to see a wind advisory. And because of this, we're going to see critical to extreme fire danger. That means even when the temperatures cool down, no bonfires this weekend. As for the day today, well, it's hard to believe that we're going to see a big cool down because outside it is warm out there. We've got plenty of sunshine. Actual air temperature currently sitting in the mid to upper 80s, 87 out at Hobby Airport, 80 degrees on the island for Lone Star Rally. And this evening for our Friday football frenzy, it'll be comfortable but pretty mild. Temperatures by 9 o'clock still in the lower 70s. So let's talk about that cold air moving in, because if you look up towards Canada, you can see this is Arctic air from a polar vortex. Now, part of this is going to be diving its way to the south with the jet stream dipping down. That's going to bring with it some very cold air by Monday morning. We're talking temperatures in the 30s and the 40s, but factor in the wind. Lisa, we're going to be feeling like the 20s. I've got more on our ice cold forecast coming up.
We will check back. Caroline, thank you.
58 degrees for our high temperature. Now, that actual cold front expected to pass through as a dry passage on Saturday afternoon. That means you'll notice a big wind shift, but we aren't going to see any showers or thunderstorms. Now, behind it, we will see gusty winds and much colder conditions. And as a high drops in, that's going to give a secondary push of cold air into Monday. Now, one of the big concerns with this is that we are tracking a very high and extreme fire danger. Texas A&M Forest Service puts this out, and they're already saying extreme fire danger. So one of the main reasons why is through the day, we can see sustained winds of 20 miles per hour, but gusts 35 to 40 miles per hour. Now, this is a concern not just because of the winds, but also with how dry it is behind the cold front. Relative humidity is expected to be anywhere from 25 to 35%, which is considered very dry. And when you factor that in with the winds, any embers in the air can quickly get out of control, especially when you factor in our most recent drought monitor. This was updated yesterday, and now over 80% of Southeast Texas is considered under some sort of drought, and some locations, that red color is an extreme drought. So the combination of dry brush, gusty winds, and also dry conditions, relative humidity being very low, fire danger is going to be extreme. So I know we're going to cool down, but no bonfires this weekend. Now, I mentioned the cool down, and maybe that was not dramatic enough, unlike me usually. Tracking temperatures, you'll notice areas to the north, that light blue color, that's going to be where we can see some frost. In fact, I would not be surprised if the National Weather Service issues freeze warnings for our far northern counties. You'll notice Monday morning, mainly to the north, but by Tuesday morning on Veterans Day, the Brazos Valley and the Piney Woods have the potential of seeing some frost. Now, this is only going to be for about an hour, which means we're not expecting any damage. However, if you have sensitive or tropical plants, you can see problems with the frost. So I would recommend covering them up or bringing them inside. Those freeze warnings, of course, they're only issued once per county when you see your first year freeze of the growing season. Our extended forecast, and if you're heading out the door, just know it does feel still a little bit like summertime, but our cooler air is on the way. And by Monday morning, you might actually be missing this weather. Let's talk about it, because right now we've got sunny skies. Actual air temperature on this Friday night currently sitting in the mid to upper 80s, 86 here in Houston, 87 at Hobby Airport. Friday football frenzy, Stratford playing Memorial, comfortable conditions, clear skies, calm winds. In fact, let's just make this a whole football segment, because tomorrow the Blazers are in town playing the Owls at 1 o'clock, 87 degrees, winds from the southwest. That really helps us warm up. Look at the difference between the Rice game, upper 80s, feeling like the 90s, and the Texans tailgaters. By Sunday morning, we're going to be in the 60s. In fact, afternoon highs on Sunday in the mid 60s. We're going to continue to see gusty winds from the north, sustained about 20 to 30, gusting 30 to 40. Lisa, these winds are what's bringing in the dangerously cold air, but I've got more on our full forecast coming up.
Okay, Caroline, thanks.
A 36-hour period. Now, over the next 3 days, we're going to continue to see those temperatures tumble. Saturday Saturday, 88. That's a near record high temperature. The record is 89 from 1989. By Sunday, 68 degrees. Sunday, the main thing you're going to notice is just how windy it is. We've got an extreme fire danger because of the gusty winds. And then by Monday, high temperatures in the 50s. This is going to be a very cold day across Houston, so just prepare for that. You're going to want to find the beanies and the hoodies. Find that this weekend so when you wake up on Monday, things just flow a little bit smoother. Future Track is going to show our cold front working its way through the state on Saturday, reaching Houston by Saturday afternoon, and it's going to be a dry passage, meaning we're not forecasting any showers or thunderstorms. You will, however, notice a wind shift and gusty conditions behind that front as the cold air starts to usher in. In fact, as that high drops in, that's going to give us that 1-2 punch of another cooler blast moving in. Because of this, by Monday morning, forecast temperatures here in Houston, 40 degrees, but our far northern counties, a light frost is going to be possible. And then watch as we go into Tuesday. The Brazos Valley and the Piney Woods all have the possibility of seeing a light frost. And your first freeze of the season, the National Weather Service, it usually issues either a freeze watch or a freeze warning. So I do expect those for our far northern counties. Know that it shouldn't cause any big problems, but if you do have sensitive vegetation, cover them up or bring them in. I'm KPRC2 meteorologist Caroline Brown, and we've got some weather whiplash coming your way. Saturday afternoon, 88 degrees, 1 degree off from a record high. Monday morning, 40. So let's get into it because that is a 36-hour temperature swing. Future Track is going to show that cold front moving in from the Pacific. That's going to actually be passing through Houston Saturday afternoon and evening. Now, this is a dry passage, so no showers, no thunderstorms, but you are going to notice a massive shift in the winds. They're going to now be coming from the north, and they're going to be extremely gusty. In fact, Sunday, I would not be surprised if a wind advisory is issued. If you're heading out to NRG to cheer on the Texans, I wouldn't do a cowboy hat. It is going to be far too windy. Winds are going to be sustained from the north, 20 to 30 miles per hour, gusting 30 to 40 miles per hour. This also means we're going to be seeing a critical to extreme fire danger. It's so dry and it's so windy that anything that sparks can just quickly get out of control. So please be careful with any burning. Now, those winds are bringing in the much colder air. In fact, temperatures as we start off Monday morning, our far northern counties actually have the possibility of seeing a light frost. Now, even if we get freeze warnings, which it is possible, know that we're not going to see any widespread damage. However, the frost can cause damage to sensitive plants, so cover them up or bring them inside. Now, that's air temperature, but factor in the winds, and this is what it feels like, 20s and 30s. So this weekend, go to the attic, grab the hoodie, grab the beanie, maybe even some mittens. It's going to be really cold Monday morning, and Tuesday actually looking even cooler. You'll notice the frost potential on Tuesday is going to include the Brazos Valley and the Piney Woods. Like I said, freeze warnings certainly possible. Those are only issued once a year for each particular county. It's the first time you see a freeze during the growing season. Our extended